I'm Inigo Maria Vier D. Edralin, your host for today, together with my co-host, Ivy, Keith, and Kate. Let's explore the philosophical, psychological, and sociological perspective of the self, and we'll introduce our first two guests for today.
Our guest for today includes expert from philosophical perspective, which is Mara Cassandra and Paula Andrea.
Morning, Mom. Welcome.
Welcome to the journey of discovery, Ma'am. Welcome to the journey of discovery. Welcome. So have a seat.
How are you today, Miss Mara and Miss Paula?
I'm good. Thank you for asking.
Okay.
Also, thank you for having us today. It's such an honor.
Okay, let's start by talking about philosophy, Ms. Mara.
You specialize in existentialism. How do existential philosophers like Sartre view the self?
And what role does personal freedom play in shaping our identity? And if I may ask, how does this idea resonate with your own life?
So, existentialists like Sartre believe the self is not a fixed entity. Instead, it's something we continuously create through our choices and actions. Personal freedom is crucial because, according to existentialists, existence precedes essence. We define who we are through our decision. So, personally, this philosopher influenced me to be responsible sa mga decision and to be mindful that every decision I make, the person I become.
Thank you, Miss Mara.
So, Miss Paula, since you focus on Eastern philosophy, how does the concept of the self in Eastern traditions, like Buddhism, differ from the Western existentialist view? And do you find yourself applying these ideas to your own life?
Eastern philosophy and Buddhism in particular understands the self as an illusion or anatta, ever-changing and lacking a fixed identity. This contrasts with Western existentialism, which emphasizes individual freedom and the need to build a personal identity by choices and acts. In my personal life, I find value in both viewpoints. Buddhism urges me to let go of strict notions of who I am, while existentialism reminds me that I have the power to choose my own path. I approach life with mindfulness and a purpose. Thanks to these ideals, this helps to keep the response sustained and concentrated on the personal reflection and comparison.
So, thank you, Miss Paula.
Okay, let's now proceed to the psychological perspective of the self.
But before we proceed to the psychological perspective of the self, let the journey of a discovery will come back after a short commercial.
Dear Charo, when I was a child, I see my father clapping his hands because my mother brewed him a Nescafe coffee. Then, I also clap my hands without understanding purpose. In a blink of an eye, when I was 6 years old, we played with my childhood friends bahay-bahayan. I am the father, she was the mother, and she was the baby. After playing, we drank Nescafe coffee while fostering our friendships. When I became 9 years old, I was already responsible being an eldest of the family. I always spent time quality with my family and making them a Nescafe coffee while doing chit-chat. Nescafe coffee has been our coffee ever since. Our day is not complete without Nescafe coffee.
Nescafe, where every sip strengthens the family bond.
of discovery.
Okay, and now let's proceed to the psychological perspective. Please help me welcome Miss Mary Jane and Mr. John Loren.
Welcome to the journey of discovery, sir.
Welcome.
to discovery. So have a seat, sir.
Have a seat. Okay, so how are you today? How do you feel right now, Miss Mary Jane?
I'm feeling good.
How about you, Mr. John Loren?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having us here.
Okay. Okay, so let's proceed to the question. So, how do psychologists understand the self during childhood and adolescence? In your own life, did you find these stages of self-development personally significant?
Psychologists like Erik Erikson suggest that the self develops in stages throughout life. In childhood and adolescence, identity formation is key. Adolescents face the challenge of defining who they are, which involves experimenting them in complex self-concepts. Looking back at my teenage years, I realized how much I was influenced by Erikson's concepts of identity versus role confusion. It was a time of constant exploration for me, and I can clearly see how I tried out different identities to figure out where I fit.
Okay, so thank you, Miss Mary Jane.
John, you focus on self-identity. How do self-esteem and self-awareness contribute to the person's sense of self? And personally, how has self-esteem impacted your own journey?
Thank you for your question. Self-esteem reflects how much we value ourselves, while self-awareness is an understanding of our own personality, both crucial in shaping how we interact with the world. High self-esteem often leads to a more positive self-concept and self-awareness align our values. Personally, I struggled with self-esteem growing up, but once I became more self-aware, I was able to understand my worth and align my action with my goals. It's still an ongoing process, but awareness has been a key factor in my growth.
Okay, thank you for the answer, Mr. John Loren. But before we proceed for the sociological perspective, the psychologist,
And the journey of discovery will come back.
welcome back to
A Journey of Discovery.
Unfortunately, Mr. Kate is having an urgent matters. Okay, Miss Kate.
So let's now proceed to the one and only sociologist. Let's all welcome our special guest, Ms. Gabriel Taverdo.
Welcome, Mom. Let's have a seat, Mom.
Hi, Mom. How are you today?
Finally, let's look at the sociological side. Ms. Gabriel, you focus on group dynamics. How does our sense of self change when we're part of a group or community? And how has being part of different groups shaped your own identity?
So, to answer your question, Ms. Kate, social identity theory suggests that we derive part of our self-concept from the groups we belong to. When we are part of a community, we often adopt the group norms and values which shape how we see ourselves. For me, belonging to a various groups from sports team to professional network has profound impact on who I am. Each group has helped me learn something new about myself, and I found that my identity shifts slightly depending on the community I'm immersed in.
Okay, let's go on the other guest. Please sit down. So get ready for the quick fire round. Okay, Mara, what's your go-to activity for self-reflection?
Meditation. It helps me center myself and reflect on my choices.
Mary Jane, what's your favorite psychological theory?
In Eric Erickson's theory, identity development is my favorite.
Miss Gabriel, what's one group or community that has the biggest impact on your personal growth?
Being part of the university community.
Okay, so John, what's one book psychology everyone should read?
The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, and it's about self-understanding.
Okay, thank you so much for all of our guests. So it's nice pleasure to having you today. We've covered all the perspective of the self, the philosophical, psychological, and sociological perspective. So thank you so much everyone for watching. Until the next episode of
A Journey of